everyone, we're about to begin. If you can take your seats. Mostly everybody is taking their seats already, so welcome everyone. My name is Dawn Pellis. I work with Perry Wellington Realty, and I was on Channel 10 for many years doing Central PA Live. And I have been proud to be the MC here, Mistress of Ceremonies, as Sue likes to say, for the United We Can Luncheon series for 5 seasons now. So you are in the spring section of the 5th season of United We Can, and we are so happy to have everyone. We've been growing steadily over the years, and we've got some great schools here today. So let's give everybody a shout out. I want to say first to my friends in Tyrone. We have 2 girls who have been here since day 1, pretty much. I want to wave to them. Hello. You're going to see them in the video a little bit later. So this is their grand finale luncheon, and they've liked it so much. They have been here every single time. So thank you for coming back. And a shout out to everyone else at Tyrone as well. Claysburg, where's Claysburg? There we are. Thank you for coming. We have Bishop Carroll back again. Here's BC coming down from up the mountain. And Central Martinsburg. Where's Central? Hey, welcome. All right, we also have a brand new school in the back, kind of split in those 2 tables. So Blair County Christian, welcome to you. And Hollidaysburg, where's our Hollidaysburg crew? There they are. Hey guys. And last but certainly not least, we have Altoona. Thank you, Altoona. Well, I want to say a big thank you to our sponsors. We have a great group here. Of course, our tech team from Perry Wellington putting together our videos and doing our sound and everything, so thank you for that. Also, our partners, St. Francis University. They've been with us for quite some time. Penn Highlands Community College, Tyrone Events and Promotions, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, and of course, our wonderful lunch provider today, and of course, our venue, casino at Lakemont. So a big round of applause for all of that. Thank you. And when you came in, you probably saw Amy and Jen over here signing you in. They have been here for many years, many seasons. So thank you to them for being a part of this on the team. And certainly, I cannot forget this lady here, Sue Griep, who is the founder of the United We Can series, and we want to give her a big welcome again from everybody. And we're going to hear from Sue in just a bit, and hey, there's her husband, Gary. So, hey, Gary. And, of course, our fabulous speaker, Tyler Smith, who you may know a little bit about, but we will share a video about him in just a bit after our lunch. But I do want to do a few housekeeping things. On your table, you'll see the list of what we're doing today. At the end of Tyler's speech, we always ask people to come up and do a takeaway. So we're looking for one person from each school to come up and say what you got out of his speech. So, and then you can win a Starbucks card. So we really hope you'll come up here and do that. So be thinking about it. There may or may not be a quiz from Tyler as well, because Tyler's an author and he's giving away books too. So put you on the spot. And also on our Facebook page, you can take a look at our fall season. So that will be on the United We Can Facebook page. Now we can begin with our luncheon. I want to call up, speaking of putting on the spot, someone we really appreciate doing this. Our opening prayer. Owen Rimbeck from Blair County Christian, would you come up?
All right, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for all that you do for us. And I thank you for this food that's been prepared for us. Please bless it, that it will make us better fit to serve you. And please be with the speaker as he speaks. And please give us a good rest of the day. And in Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you, Owen. And now we are ready for lunch, so the casino staff will be coming around, and enjoy, and we'll be back with you in just a bit. Okay. Well, we are going to start because we don't want you to be late getting back, so we will begin. Fifth season, Spring United We Can, and you have a fantastic speaker to listen to in just a bit. And if you have been here before, you know what this is all about. It's people sharing their stories and helping you move on to whatever you want to do next. So the takeaways are pretty amazing. You just never know what's going to resonate with you when you hear these stories. And we have heard so much feedback, great feedback from students, counselors, and adults in general that have been by to our luncheons. But if you don't know more about this and how it all got started, we did create a video for you to watch, so we'll take a look at that now.
I worked at the district attorney's office for 30 years as a victim witness coordinator for Clearfield and Clare County District Attorney's Office. And what I was seeing in working with young and old alike is that they didn't have a focus on where they were going to be in the future. They didn't believe in themselves, and they thought that good things happen to other people. We're trying to change mindsets to think more positively, and the more that we can change the mindset and it becomes a regular pattern for our youth to believe in themselves, the stronger our community is going to be. A lot of our speakers have ties to the area, and some people just have ties to the area through friendships, and that's okay, because the ones that from outside the area are ones that you might recognize maybe a little bit more than the local people, but everybody has a story to tell, and we just, wherever we get our stories and we get our inspiration, we welcome speakers from all areas.
We all have difficulties in our lives, and if you have it, you will. And it's preparing for those and meeting them head on so that you can slingshot forward from the challenges you have.
A lot of the time we get so caught up in the day-to-day that we forget to really explore new opportunities and just try something new. And usually we just hope for things, but we need to actually do the work to get where we want to go.
Like being in 7th grade, I kind of was in a little bubble. I had my own problems, just focused on myself, but now I look at the world way differently. Like I look at you guys and understand that you've overcome some incredible things, and just everyone on the street, like you learn to think about other people more. So you don't think about yourself anymore. You look out onto the street and you're like, they've been through challenges. Like that person has overcome some incredible things in their lives. So it definitely has stuck with me.
I thought that Dano was most impactful for me because his story and his struggles really just showed like how much a perspective changes everything. One of the stories that he said that stuck out to me was he was in a fire, and due to his medical disabilities, like he couldn't walk, he couldn't get out, he was trapped, and that's scary and it's a lot. And he was young, and when he was older, he survived obviously to talk. And when he was older, he made a children's book out of it, and so for fire safety, which is really cool because it shows like how something that's scary, something that's difficult, something that seems impossible, you can change to impact other people's lives for the better. And I just think that's such an awesome takeaway.
You don't know really anything about the world until you hear about other people's stories. Like you don't know anything until you look through someone else's eyes or step into their shoes, and just hearing everyone's stories changes your whole perspective of the world and of your life and of everyone else's lives. Like you understand things that you would never understand if you had never been there.
This may not seem like that big of a place or that cool of a place, or there's not that many people where, it's just Tyrone, but it shows that like people are people no matter where you came from, and it's up to you to write your own destiny, as corny as that sounds.
It's amazing to hear the stories and walk away feeling empowered and excited and passionate and uplifted by the stories that you hear. And that's what we're trying to accomplish, is for you to feel better about leaving than when you walked in that room.
Let them say we can do it. Give us a matter. We're gonna move close. We can do the impossible. We are the ball in our hands, and we won't stop. 'Cause we got take a difference in this life. With one voice, one heart, two hands, we can. We're gonna make a change today. Because we've got the faith it takes to win this race. So let them say we can do it.
It's my honor to introduce our guest speaker for today's United We Can. He has been on my radar for the last 5.5 years since we started this, to bring him in here to speak to the students. Let me tell you a little bit about Tyler Smith. Tyler grew up in Lake Bluff, Illinois, and was highly involved in extracurricular activities. 2002 graduate of Penn State in telecommunications, Tyler was a 3-year starter on the men's basketball team and was an academic All-American. He played a key role during Penn State's 2001 NCAA Sweet 16 March Madness run when they knocked off North Carolina en route to Penn State's best season in almost 50 years. Following graduation, Tyler played professional basketball for 11 years in the United States and overseas, from third world countries to the NBA. His basketball career took him to 7 countries: Holland, Italy, Uruguay, Argentina, the US, Japan, and Thailand, on 4 continents, as he played for 12 different teams. His book, called For Traveling, My Nomadic Life Playing Pro Basketball Around the World, chronicles his hilarious and unbelievable adventures around the globe. Tyler now lives in State College and works for a medical device company called Zimmer Biomet. He is blessed to be surrounded by ladies at home with his amazing wife, Kara, and daughters, Hannah, Lexi, and Tori. He hopes his girls look more like his wife. When asked how he would like me to describe him today, I did use this. He said that he is slow, ugly, and tries hard. But I know him to be caring, motivated, and funny beyond words. And before we bring him up, we have a short video to introduce him.
NCAA tournament, like on the banners, like on the floor and stuff. And it was just such an exciting moment, because like we are here, guys. We are playing in March Madness. We played like this.
Please welcome the amazing Tyler Smith.
Wow, that was quite an intro. How's my sound? Good? Okay. Whew, man, I think we should just end it. That's good for me. Okay, see you later.
Well, thanks so much for having me, guys. I tell you, it's really fun to be able to come out and chat with you guys. I just got a really good buzz, a good vibe going as you guys were coming in the door and got to take some pictures together. And you know, there's a couple of things I wanted to share with you guys today. So it's funny, you look up here and you see like this bit of a giant, right? And I'm actually not that big. I played with a guy who was 7'3", 290 pounds. That's a big guy, okay? I felt like I was playing against my dad when I was 8 years old, right? I'm like, okay, you're huge, please don't step on me. Anybody ever remember the name Yao Ming? Yao Ming was a basketball player from China. I played against him also. He was 7'5", and I don't know, 280 pounds or so, 7'5". And I remember guarding him in a game, and I'm like, I'm looking at him in his belly. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this, coach? You know, like this is crazy. But I grew up in a little town called Lake Bluff. It was outside of Chicago. Played a lot of sports growing up. Was really into basketball, baseball, anything that I could move with. I just loved playing. And I was always, we were chatting at my table here, awesome table here in the beginning, in the front. And they were like, were you always tall? And I was like, yeah, kinda. Like I was born like 6'2". Like it was kind of crazy, but I just came out big. I was always a big kid. And you know, a lot of times when I was growing up, for me, it was a little bit awkward because you would think, hey, being tall like that, that's a good thing, right? That's a blessing. That's something that you stand out. Well, my dad was like, listen, son, you're the biggest kid out there. And if you get yourself in trouble and then something goes down, everybody's gonna know that you were involved, so you better watch what you're doing. I was like, that's a really good point. So I managed to stay out of trouble for the most part growing up. But there were times when I did, and of course, my dad was like, yeah, I told you. See, you're the biggest one. Oh, it was that tall guy with the blonde hair. Like, you're easy to find. But as I was growing up, I remember it was a little bit hard for me because I was pretty self-conscious. And you know, you might think, oh, well, you know, think about some of the people in your school or some of your friends and that are really good at something. Maybe they're really good at acting. They're really good at their sport. They're great at academics. And you're like, man, it must be so easy to be them, right? And so if you would look at me and say, man, here's this tall guy, and he plays basketball, these other sports, and I was involved in other things. But inside, man, I was really self-conscious. Like, we'd go to school dances, and I'd be like, dude, cannot dance. I will be over here drinking Kool-Aid or whatever we got, right? I mean, I was not comfortable in my own skin. And I really wanted to fit in with everybody else. And so I wouldn't stand tall, right? I didn't have my shoulders back, my chest out, right? I would just kind of, you know, be kind of hunched over a little bit and, you know, going through my days. But it was something for me that I had to really realize, okay, like, this is the way God made you. And it took me a while to get to that point. So if any of you guys in here are kind of feeling like, you know what, like, I just don't know if I'm really that confident in myself yet, whether it's in my academics or in the way I feel or look or in my grades, that's everybody, okay? That's all of us. None of us are walking around like, I am the greatest thing ever to be creative, right? Nobody has that. Sometimes we put off that persona. Sometimes people act like that, but that's not real deep down inside. Another thing I wanted to share with you guys is when you see people that are successful or have done something of meaning, could be an athlete, right? Like we look at guys like LeBron James, Steph Curry. We look at famous actors and actresses, Denzel Washington, you name it, right? We can all think of 100 of them. All of those people, we only see their success. None of us are like best friends with them or like their neighbors next door that see everything they do every day. But what we don't see is all their failures over and over and over along the way before they get to their actual success. And so a lot of us in this room, you guys are going after something, right? There's some goals, right? The softball team at my table, man, they're 11-2. They're crushing it. They're trying to win districts. They're trying to win states, right? But along the way, as you're going, there are going to be failures. I just saw a little video yesterday, actually. The Greek freak, Giannis, he plays for the Milwaukee Bucks. And a reporter asked him, hey, you guys didn't win this season. Was it a failure, Giannis? And Giannis looks at him like, was it a failure? That's such a stupid question. And he called this reporter out and he said, you know, Michael Jordan won 6 titles. He's the best player to ever play the game, but he played 15 years. Does that mean the other 9 years were failures? Did Michael Jordan fail for 9 years? And so it was the completely wrong way to be looking at it. But that's how the reporter phrased the question. Was it a failure that you guys didn't win this year? And he's like, listen, when you're playing a sport, when you're in the game of life, and you're going after stuff, and you're trying to achieve different things, you're going to fail along the way. And the key is to not let those failures crush you, and don't let those failures put this thought in your brain, you know what, you're just not good enough. You just don't have it. There's other people, look at that girl over there, she's so much prettier than you. Look at that guy over there, he's so much stronger and faster and better than you. These are false, wrong, untrue ideas that get in our brains every single day. If you were to lay out all your thoughts on a table from the beginning, the time you wake up in the beginning of the morning to the time you go to bed, how many of those thoughts are positive, I got this, I can do this, and how many are negative, right? They did a study and they showed about 70 to 80% of the average person, of their thoughts are negative thoughts throughout the day. Crazy, 70 to 80%. How do we get through a day with just over and over again, these thoughts bombarding us like, oh man, look at that vacation that person's taking. Isn't that amazing? Why aren't I on that? Oh, look at that new car. Look at that new house. Look at that new outfit. Look at that new purse, shoes, whatever it might be. And we're always bombarded with these images on social media, right? Everybody's on social media. And when we allow that stuff to get into us and affect us, that's just gonna hurt us, right? So we gotta be really, really smart on how we look at some of these things. I have a 14-year-old daughter at home, and I am constantly talking to her. She's on social media, she's on Instagram, constantly talking to her about, hey, what do we see when we're on here, right? What are these people showing? Is that really real? She's like, actually, no. Like, you know, this girl, she makes this post and, you know, saying like how great and happy she is, but she's like, I know this girl. Like, she's not that happy. And But that's not the message that we're getting from our culture, from our society. So I want you guys to remember that. And one of the things that, a little mantra that I've started to kind of play in my mind on a regular basis the last few years is a two-word phrase, okay? And it's very short, and very powerful, but I'm not very smart, so I need like 2 words. Like, I can remember 2 words. And it's something that there are always times where things are against you, right? If you're an athlete, you've gone up against that better team, the better athletes. You know, like, man, we're gonna have to really bring it tonight if we want to beat these guys. The conditions aren't great, right? Like, we go to their gym and their floor is slippery. Their fans, man, they're so mean, they're so rude. They're, you know, this bus that we traveled on, oh my gosh, it was like just a disaster. So we're always having to overcome things in our lives. And sports is a great way to do that. So this little phrase, and a buddy of mine shared it with me, it's win anyway. Win anyway. Because is life ever easy? Right? Is life like, oh man, that guy's got this easy life, I've got this easy life. Nobody has an easy life, right? We all have our challenges. Some of them are bigger than others. So I just listened to a podcast by a Navy SEAL, and this guy's name was Drago Ziran. He grew up in socialist Poland. So it was a few years ago. Poland's not a socialist community or country anymore. But he said that his mom would get up at 3:30 in the morning and go wait in line at least 3 or 4 hours for bread. He said in our country, we waited for the bread. He said in America, the bread waits for you. Oh, that was a great line. She waited for the bread in Poland, but in America, the bread waits for you. So even though things are very, very difficult for all of us in a lot of ways, we still live in a pretty amazing country. I've been all over the world. I've played 11 years for 12 different teams in 7 different countries. And at one point in my career, I was 4 different continents in 4 consecutive years. So I had no idea what was coming next. As a basketball player overseas, like, you guys really don't ever hear about this, right? We all know the NBA, because that's what we have. We have LeBron. Why would we talk about Spain or Holland or Italy or Uruguay? And I went down my 3rd year, I flew down to Uruguay. Anybody know where Uruguay is? Raise your hand. Can you find it on a map? Nice. We got some smarter people than me in the room for sure. I didn't know where Uruguay was. I got a one-line email from an agent. I'd been waiting all summer. Every year, I would have the off season in the summer, and I'm waiting for my next contract. I get a one-line email. Hello, Tyler Smith. This is Daniel Morales. Do you want to play in Uruguay? And I'm like, what? How does my email have accents? And I said, I didn't have a job, so I said, yeah, I'll come play in Uruguay. So he said, okay, you must be down here in 3 days. Great, so I hop on a plane, fly down to Uruguay, and it was 19 hours to get down there. I land in Uruguay, I'm like, whew, all right, can we just like get to the hotel and lay down? And like, well, we're going to have a drive. Well, how far is the drive? 6 hours. We're gonna drive 6 hours? Like, is there not an airport closer? Well, yes, but it's not open on Sundays. And of course, I landed on Sunday. Okay, so we take off driving, we get to a restaurant, and he says, okay, do you want to have something to eat? Yes, I'm starving, let's eat. Okay, try this. And he hands me a slice of, it looked like a sausage. I'm like, oh man, Javier, that's delicious, man, what is that? Oh, that's called chorizo. I said, okay, chorizo, mental note. I'll eat the chorizo. And Javier goes, okay, now try this. And this is like a little, like a black color sausage. I'm like, well, what's that? I will tell you after you eat it. Oh, okay. Well, I'm like, listen, I gotta like, I'm in their country, I gotta try their foods and try their stuff. So like, I put it in my mouth, and instantly I'm like, oh my gosh, I am gonna vomit this out of my mouth. This is so disgusting. But I didn't want to insult these guys that I'm with. So I get it down, I'm like chugging the water, I'm like sweating, I'm like, what was that? That was cow's blood. I was like, oh, Javier, man, you're killing me, buddy. So we go up to my little town up north in Uruguay, and I walk into the hotel where I'm gonna be staying. So I want you to picture this super old hotel, and there's only like 3 floors. I'm on the 2nd floor, and I walk up to my room and I open the door. And all I see is a bed, a little wooden table, and like this like TV like that big, like up in the corner of the room. And I'm like, oh my word. How am I gonna live here for the next 8 months in like this little like jail cell type area and play basketball? Like, I am so uncomfortable right now. The last 2 years I had pretty good situations. I had lived in Italy, I had lived in Holland. A lot of people spoke English in those places. And now here I am, and this verse popped into my head. It was, I can be content in any and all situations. No matter if I'm well-fed or hungry, no matter if things are easy or hard, right, I can be content. And so for me, that was kind of my challenge. I was like, okay, here I am, super uncomfortable. I got this, coach was feeding me crazy food. I'm in this like really uncomfortable living conditions. You know, and I said, Javier, when's our first game? And he says, oh, we play this weekend. So we go down, we were 6 hours away from the closest team. And so every away game was gonna be a 6-hour bus ride. Like there were no flights. So we're driving 6 hours, and we leave at 10 in the morning, we go down on a Friday, and we hang out for like a couple hours at like this old house, and they're like, hey, here's some bread and, you know, some candy bars and good luck. I'm like, man, this is not like some big like pregame meal, like real professional. We get to the court and the locker room, and I'm like, hey, I use the bathroom, but there's no toilet paper. Like, oh, they didn't tell you? I'm like, tell me what? You gotta bring your own toilet paper to away games. I was like, I gotta bring my own toilet. What kind of country is this, man? Like, I'm eating cow's blood. I gotta bring my own toilet paper places. It was crazy. And I didn't have that little phrase at the time. Right? I didn't have this mentality, or I didn't have that phrase in my brain, but I had that mentality of, you know what? 2 other words I'm gonna leave you with today. Screw it. I was like, screw it. Screw this other stuff. I'm just gonna go out and I'm gonna play as hard as I possibly can. So I go out there, have an amazing game. My teammates are like, okay, this guy can play. Like, we're gonna keep him. Because anytime I went to a team, if you didn't play well, you could be cut literally the next day. A buddy of mine went and played in Mexico. He won his first 8 games in a row. He lost his 9th game, and they said, sorry, you're done. Send him back to the US. It's crazy. So every game, there was a lot of pressure, because if the American doesn't play well, they just send him home. So I played well, but I had this attitude that said, okay, I'm in this new place. Things are super uncomfortable for me. I don't know any of these guys, right? My Spanish, The first day when I landed, they also took me to the gym, and my head coach, he spoke some English, and he was like, hey, this lady wants to do an interview with you for TV, because you're the new American in town. It's this tiny little town, and I was the only American around. And I said, great, let's do it. So she has the guy with the camera, and she holds the mic, and she's like, in Spanish, and he goes, ha! And I'm like, Javier, and Javier's gone. It's just me. And some lady just asked me something in Spanish. I have no idea what she said. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Recesses in my brain. What did I remember from high school Spanish? Anybody here take Spanish? Yeah. It's a lot easier in Spanish class. Listen. So I've got a hot mic in front of me. I'm like, me gusta Uruguay. Something about the biblioteca. My tarea and my perro, no bueno, right? It was bad. I'm like, I embarrassed like future generations of Smiths forever. So this kind of sums up giving you an idea of like, you can be in a super, super uncomfortable situation. But if you can have this mentality of, hey, I'm gonna find a way to win anyway, that is what's gonna be able to propel you to be able to achieve some great things. And you are gonna fail along the way, right? We've all failed. Everybody in here can raise their hand. Yes, I failed at stuff. Fail all the time. My junior year at Penn State, we won 21 games. We beat Kentucky, Michigan State, North Carolina, went to the Sweet 16. It was awesome. My senior year, I'm like, let's go do that again. That was great. My senior year, we lost 21 games. Last in the Big Ten. We were not going to the tournament, right? I mean, I was getting like hate mail before social media was even coming up. I'm like, man, these people they were mad. They had a taste of winning last year, and now like that's gone. Like we're the worst team in the conference. But every single day, my buddy and I were captains of the team. Kenny Krimmel, he's a state college guy. His brother Rob Krimmel's the coach over at St. Francis. Kenny and I would get in front of our team and stretch, right? This is how I start practice every day, just like you guys do with your teams. We get in front of our team, and we would stretch, and we would lead these guys. And it was a challenge every day. Man, we just got blown out by Pitt, of all teams, by 35 points last night. It was so bad, actually, that we drove back, and it was about 2 in the morning, and our coach goes, hey, get your stuff on. We're practicing. We're like, what? I'm already exhausted. I'm mad. Like, we just got destroyed. So those kinds of things are happening this season. How can I go out every day and stand in front of these guys as a leader and try to keep working hard? Well, that's the other thing I want to share with you, is that you should all be working your tails off whatever you're doing. But that doesn't mean that hard work is going to equal success. We were playing so hard. I was trying to pump my guys up every single day. I mean, Kenny and I, we brought it every single day. We played so hard. We couldn't win games. And sometimes we have this feeling inside of us. Sometimes it's our culture, our society, that says, you know what? That is not fair, right? That is unfair. That's wrong. And we think that, hey, just because I worked hard, I should get something. It doesn't always work out that way. How about the Altoona Curve guy? Was it 3 days ago? He played 1,125 pro games for 13 seasons in the minor leagues. 13 seasons. And he just got his first call-up. That guy's been working hard season 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, never got called up, right? And finally, his time comes. Now, his time might never have come, but he could say, you know what? I have worked so hard. I've gone all over this country playing pro baseball, and that's not fair. I've put my time in. I have done what I needed to do. Life is not fair. Life will never, ever, ever be fair. It was not fair for your parents. It is not fair for you. It will not be fair for your kids, okay? And when we say that and look at yourself in the mirror tonight and be like, you know what? Life is not fair. You say, you know what? That's okay. gonna win anyway. There was a kid on my high school team. He would go up to coach during practice and he'd say, hey, coach, when we scrimmage today, give me the 4 worst guys on this team and we're gonna beat everybody. I want the 4 worst guys and we're gonna win anyway. And that's the kind of mentality, when you start to use that and turn that on in your brain, oh man, watch out world, right? Because you are going to fail along the way. Absolutely, we all will. I will continue to fail, right? I have 3 daughters at home, 14, 10, and 8. Sometimes I do a decent job being a dad, but a lot of times I screw it up and I fail. So then, okay, I'll get better next time. Failure, that's just an attempt. That's all that is. It does not define who you are. You go in and you got a test coming up next week. Let's say you go in, you study, man, I'm ready. I did my study packets, I did the guides, I got with friends, I did everything I could, and you don't get the A, you don't get the B. Maybe you don't even get the C, and maybe you fail. I did everything I was supposed to do, man. I worked hard, I studied. I should get the A. Hard work does not always equal success, but you have to do it. You have to do that hard work if you want to put yourself in a position to be successful. I'll give you one other story. When I was 26, I went out to a China draft camp. So the Chinese Pro Basketball League, they have their own league in their country, and they would put on a camp that was in the middle of the woods in Oregon. Really weird, I know, but there was this like awesome compound thing where there was a whole bunch of cabins, there was a couple of basketball courts, and what they had was a week where all the pro teams, their owners, their coaches, they would all come in and evaluate guys playing games for like 4 or 5 days. So I went out to this, and like I was a nobody, right? I was like the last, I wasn't even supposed to be in the main camp, but I kind of like snuck in. So the guys that are participating in this were like unbelievable resumes. These guys that have already been playing in the NBA, they've been playing at overseas, making real big money. And that wasn't me. Like I had no NBA experience. I wasn't playing in huge leagues. And I go in there, and guess what? These guys, because we're kind of in the middle of the woods, literally, in Oregon, and guys are like totally out of their element. These guys are like, man, there's no Wendy's around here, man. You know, there's no, I'm sleeping in bunk beds. Like, there's no like cities or like clubs to go to. And I'm like, yeah, dude, we're in the woods. We're only here to play basketball. But the big one, man, I got no cell service. Where these guys are totally out of their element, and it threw them off mentally. And then they got on the court, and they weren't playing that hard. They were kind of, I don't want to be here. But my mentality was, dude, this is my opportunity. Like, I don't care. Like, I'll sleep on the ground. Like, I'm here to get a contract. Like, I want to go play in China in a really good league, make some good money. So I go out there and played great. I don't always play great, but for whatever reason, everything was clicking this week, man. I was hitting my shots, and they would post statistics in all these different categories. And I was 1, 2, or 3 in efficiency and shooting and like all this stuff. I just had like my best week ever. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I never play like this, but I'm making shots. And so all these guys are like, dude, you're about to get drafted. Like, get ready to like negotiate your price. You're gonna make some money over in China. I'm like, yeah. So they actually do the draft right there, just like this. We're all sitting at tables. And these guys are like, oh, speaking Chinese. I'm like, dude, I don't know what they're saying. So you're just kind of listening for your name. And they'll be like, Carl Edwards. I'm like, that's not my name. Okay, it wasn't me. And they'll be like, somebody, and they just go through all these things. And like, my name didn't get called. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? Like, I just played my butt off. Like, statistically, data-wise, like, I killed it. Like, what's going on? Didn't get picked. Don't have an answer. And I'm like, I just worked so hard. Shouldn't that equal success? Not always. But a guy came up to me after the draft, and he goes, Tyler, you know who I am? I was like, I think so. But I'm like, you don't want to like mess that question up, right? And he's like, well, my name is Rick Barry. And I'm like, Rick Barry? Okay, that name rings a bell. So not that many people are going to know who he is, but he's an NBA Hall of Famer. He played in the 60s, the 70s, and he was really famous for having this underhanded free throw. He would shoot free throws underhanded, and people would like always make fun of him, but he shot like 90-something% shooting underhanded free throws. So you can't really argue with him. They went in. In fact, at one point, he got Shaq, and Shaq was like a terrible free throw shooter. He was shooting like 30, 40% for a couple seasons. And he takes Shaq over a private workout. He's like, Shaq, I can make you a great free throw shooter. And Shaq's like, oh yeah, for real? He's like, yeah, man, come over here. So he shows him, and he gets Shaq going. He gets him going. And Shaq has hit 90% of his free throws underhanded. And he's like, Shaq, you're good to go, baby. You're welcome. And Shaq's like, man, I can't do that stuff, man. I can't do it. What do you mean you can't do it? Man, that was way too embarrassing, man. I can't do that. So you never saw Shaq shoot underhanded free throw. But Rick Barry comes up to me and he goes, Tyler, it is a shame that you are not in the NBA right now. And I about like fell down right in front. I'm like, Rick, what are you talking about? And he's like, I'm gonna make some calls for you, and I want you to be playing in the NBA. And I'm like, I want to be playing in the NBA too, Rick Barry. What do I need to do, you know? And it was a guy that just came up, and it was just one guy that believed in me for whatever reason. And he calls Pat Riley from the Miami Heat. He calls Jerry Sloan from the Utah Jazz. And sure enough, I get a call from the Jazz, and they invite me out and say, hey, we want you to come out. Rick Barry had some nice things to say about you. Rick Barry's my new best friend. So I ended up having an opportunity to go out with the Jazz and do something even better and cooler than I would have done over in China. Now, China would have been really cool, but I'm like, dude, this is my dream. I have a jersey that's an NBA jersey that my mom did not buy from Target. And it has my name on it, you know, like this is amazing. So I have a really short stint with the Jazz. I did not make the team. But I tell you what, I played harder than all those guys. It was amazing, because you could tell the guys who had guaranteed contracts. Because man, training camp, it was going through the motions, you know? And I'm out there like, first one in line, I'm like, let's go. I got energy, like my legs are killing me, like I'm exhausted, like I'm in the training room. If I'm not on the court working out, I'm in the training room getting worked on just so I can get legs to get back out there again. So I worked my tail off, did not make the team, right? So another failure along the way. Like here I am, like this is my opportunity. And in my mind, I'm thinking, dude, I'm not getting another shot at this. Like this is my one shot. Rick Barry stuck his neck out for me. I'm not gonna let him down, and I'm not gonna let myself down. So I never got another shot at the NBA. But I look back and I say, man, I gave it everything I have. I have zero regrets because I put it all out there. And if I didn't make it, hey, I didn't make it. And for me, you know what? Maybe this wasn't in God's plan for whatever reason. And so I have these 11 years, and I look back and I see kind of how God directed these turns and these opportunities. And sometimes there were times when I thought, man, for sure I'm going to get this opportunity, this contract. I had a chance to play in Italy, didn't play well. I got cut. And Italy, that was kind of like my NBA before I had the NBA. I was like, I just want to go to Italy, man. Great basketball, great food. You got, you know, Roman gladiators in the Colosseum of Rome. I mean, there's so much cool stuff there. And I got cut. I got over there for whatever reason, could not make a shot. Just like I would put in hundreds and thousands of extra shots. I couldn't make shots. I was playing poorly. So then a year later, I get a call from my agent. He's like, Tyler, I got a team for you. The coach likes you, the president likes you, and the owner likes you. It's the perfect golden trifecta. That's what you need if you're gonna get signed. I'll call you back in 24 hours. I'm like, sweet. I'm talking to my wife, Kara. I'm like, we're going to Italy. This is gonna be amazing. And she's like, yeah, it's great. 24 hours goes by, crickets. 48 hours, crickets. Max, man, what happened? Oh, they're waiting. Maybe, you know, one more week. They want to sign one more player. I'm like, no. They don't need to sign any other players. I want to sign with them. Tell them just to send me the contract. Never got the contract. Never got it. So there's plenty of times where I missed things along the way. I was doing everything I absolutely could to get there, but for whatever reason, it didn't pan out. So for you guys, I just want to leave you with this. As you're approaching your next challenge in life, whatever it may be, right? This might be the test coming up next week, maybe tomorrow. It might be the next game you have. It might be that relationship or that conversation that's hard to have with a family member or with a friend. There's always going to be challenges that are trying to keep you down. There's always going to be these negative thoughts firing through your head. Do not let those thoughts take up real estate in your mind, Okay, you only have so much real estate in your mind, and don't let those thoughts be the dominant voice in your heads, right? So there's a Navy SEAL called Jocko Willink, and he talks about mind control. Put that on YouTube sometime, pull it up, Jocko Willink, mind control. And he's like, I'm not talking about controlling other people's minds, I'm talking about controlling your own mind and what goes on in your own brain, right? Because we do have control over that. There's very little in this life that we have control over. We do have control over how hard we work, and we do have control over our attitude. So your effort and your attitude, those are the things you can manipulate, right? And when you get those thoughts coming in your head, sometimes you just gotta stop and you gotta say, you know what? That's a lie. Don't believe that. Let's turn that around and let's move forward. And when things are starting to go against you, and all of a sudden you're playing with your team, and oh man, you know what? Our best player just got hurt. Or you're going into this new school, or you know, some of you guys are seniors, you're going to a university next year, and you're like, man, I don't know what to expect. There's a lot of unknowns out there. In your mind, have that concept and drill that into yourself of, but I'm gonna win anyway. I have all these things against me. Life is not fair, right? We've established that life is not fair. It will never be fair, but I'm gonna find a way to win anyway. So for me, I can remember being in middle school, and I was not grasping this math concept, and there was this kid next to me, Alex Bismonti, and Alex was like, everything came so easy to Alex. It's like, dude, how come you're so good at math? I knew he wasn't even trying. He would just kind of show up, and like, he wasn't even taking notes, man. He would just show up, like ace all these tests, and like, no big deal. Some people just have that, right? Some people are just naturally gifted at whatever. Some people are naturally gifted in math. Some are naturally gifted in athletics. They can just run fast. Like that guy doesn't even train hard. He doesn't even show up for weights. He just goes out there and just sprints and goes, and he just wins. Fine. And that's how they are. That's how God made them. It might take me 5, 10, 15, 20 times to grasp the concept. I work for a medical device company now, and I'm in the operating room with orthopedic surgeons. And they go in and they will open up someone's knee or hip or shoulder, cut off bones like medieval carpentry. It's like crazy, kind of gross sometimes. First time I went in, almost passed out, not gonna lie. My buddy's like, hey man, you should come shadow me, come see a surgery. I go in and saw this knee replacement, and I'm looking at it like, I'm gonna go get a drink of water, I'll be right back. And I come back in, I was a little bit refreshed, and he's like, hey man, it's okay, if you need to sit down, there's no problem. Like I felt like I was gonna be a wimp if I like sat down or left. And he was like, listen, last person was in here, they passed out and then peed on themselves. I was like, okay, new goal. Don't pee on myself, don't pass out. So as I'm learning these new surgeries, I'm in there as an advisor to the surgical team, the doctors, and the nurses. And some of these surgeries are kind of complicated, and there's a lot of moving parts, there's a lot of instruments. You might have 12 trays of instruments that can all do different things. And I'm like, how am I gonna learn all this stuff, right? I was a communications major. I was not biology or chemistry, science. Like, I've heard all those body parts, but I don't know anything about the human body. So eventually, I said, man, I just gotta like get down and figure this stuff out. And the guys that I was working with, like, they just knew it. They're like, oh yeah, grab that. Remember, we're just gonna do this and this. And I'm like, I don't remember any of this stuff, man. I just looked at this stuff last night. I can't remember it. It would take me like 5, 10, 15, 20. It probably took me 100 times to finally have it down. And the other guy, he might have gotten in his third try. So just because somebody else maybe naturally has that gift already, doesn't mean you can't do it, right? I wrote a book, but like, am I like an author? I was not an English major, okay? I kept a bunch of emails. That's essentially what I did. I kept a whole bunch of emails for like 10 years. I was like, wouldn't it be kind of fun to put something together? Probably only my mom and her book club will read it, but at least I'll have it down, and maybe I can share it with my kids someday. And so I just set a goal. Like, I didn't take any like how to write a book courses or like any of that. I was just like, okay, January 1st. By December 31st this year, I'm gonna have 12 chapters. I'm gonna write 1 chapter a month, and at the end, hopefully I'll have something. I don't know. And sure enough, by the end of the year, I had enough down where, boom, first draft, first copy. I'm like, okay. And then I went with an editor, and I got better at it, improved it a bunch, and then I said, okay, I think it's ready. I'm gonna send it to a couple different people, see if they'll publish it. And I sent it to my English teacher for like one last eyeballs to look at it. And my high school English teacher, he'd written some books, and so I really respected him. Mr. Ferry, and I'm like, Mr. Ferry, what do you think? And he's like, hey, not bad for your first draft. First draft, Mr. Ferry, I've been working on this for like 3 years. Nah, I think you got some work to do. Oh my gosh. So here I am. I've done all this work, and I think success. I'm done, I finished. But really, I was just getting started. Okay, listen, I am not a writer. I am not an author. I just put a bunch of stuff down. I'm trying to make it good. And so that, I'm guessing that's gonna be the situation for some of you guys. Some of you guys are going to classes or activities or whatever that are just really hard, right? And you're gonna fail along the way like, I didn't get it. It doesn't mean you quit, right? It means that was your first attempt. That was your 10th attempt. That was your 20th attempt. But you're getting closer. You're getting closer. So failure is a huge, huge part of success. But you don't hear that, right? We don't hear, well, no, you just see the success. You just see the people making millions of dollars. You see the influencers. Failure is a huge part of that success. And that mindset of win anyway, hey, be the guy from my high school team that was like, give me your worst 4 guys. I'm gonna beat everybody. Be that person, right? You have control over your mind. You have control over your thoughts. And when you start feeling like out of control, take a breath, slow down, and you gotta talk back to your brain and say, listen, you don't belong in here, all right? I'm replacing all this stuff. When you start to replace all that garbage, all that crap that's being fed to you, whether it's through social media or just your own self, a lot of times we're our own worst enemies. You start pushing that out and getting that good positive stuff in. There is so much good stuff out there that you can follow. I follow multiple people when I'm looking for inspiration. I'm having a bad day. I'm like, okay, I got to throw one of these Navy SEAL videos on. I gotta get this podcast going from this really good leader, this really good teacher. Fill my brain with some of this good stuff. There's endless content now. Choose wisely. Choose some really good content of people that are wise, that are strong, that are givers, right? Everybody loves a giver, right? That's one of my favorite verses as well. I think it's 2 Corinthians. God loves a cheerful giver. All of us love givers, right? We're not like, stay away from that dude, gives way too much. Too much giving. That girl over there, saw her giving, whew, get away. No, we love givers. Be a giver as well, right? There's people out there that are having a rough day. Maybe you need to be the one to give them a little something. So I'll wrap this up. You guys have been very patient. So two word phrases that I'll leave you guys with, right? Is screw it. Sometimes you're just gonna be like, you know what? I don't know if I can do it today. I don't know if I got it. There's too much against me. I was training for a marathon a couple years ago, and my rhythm was 1 run a week in the middle, 1 run on the weekend. And on the weekends, and I trained, not very smart of me, but through the winter, and I don't have like a treadmill or anything, so no matter what the weather was, like, you just had to go. And there were mornings I woke up and it was just pouring rain. And listen, you look outside, it's pouring rain, you're like, well, I'm not doing that today, right? That very easily could have been my mindset. One time it was snowing, and there was like a huge snow. It was maybe, I don't know, like 12 inches or something. And I was like, screw it, here we go. But when you have that kind of attitude, and forget it, like, I'm just going, it doesn't matter. I've never jumped out of a plane, right? I'm a little too scared for that. Maybe someday I will. But if I were to ever stay on the edge of that plane and look out, that would have to be my mindset. Those 2 words would have to be the only words that get me out of that plane. Screw it, I'm going. And the last phrase, win anyway. Life is not fair. It will never be fair. I'm sorry. That's not the world we live in. We live in a very broken world. But even though we live in a broken world, it doesn't mean you can't work your tails off to put yourself in a position to win. And when all those odds are stacked against you, and you're not feeling well, and things are going wrong at home, things are going wrong at school, things are going wrong on your team, say, hey, all these things are against me. I can still win anyway. I'm still going to find a way to win. And if I fail, great, I fail. That's one of my attempts to get to where I need to go, okay? Those are just attempts. Thank you guys so much.
All right, everyone, we are going to do our takeaways. So I told you before, Tyler has a quiz for some stuff he's going to give away. But one person from each school, please come up and tell us your name and tell us your takeaway. So come on, volunteers.
Name your schools. Who's from Altoona?
Altoona? Altoona, come on up. We got Claysburg, volunteer. How about Central? Where's our Central? Tyrone, Blair Christian, and Bishop Carroll. Come on up. And Tyler is waiting to hear what you take away from his speech. So go ahead up.
Your
We
name?
have
Gracie Gillis.
is there Hollidaysburg? Hollidaysburg? Do we have Hollidaysburg too? Okay, good. We got Hollidaysburg. Okay.
So should
Yep,
should
go up and
Grace
say your
take the
name
line?
and say your takeaway.
Hi, my name is Gracie. I'm from Altoona. And my dad always says, embrace the suck. And lately, I've been feeling kind of down. So I'm really happy that I have, these new positive phrases to add to, my, vocabulary, I guess, whenever I'm feeling down. So thank you for that.
Awesome, thank you.
My name is Casey Moss from Claysburg, and my key takeaway is that even whenever you fail, all those failures come together and makes you a better and stronger person.
My name is Lydia Seltzer. I'm from Tyrone, and my key takeaway is that it's really easy to fail and it might be really discouraging, but as long as you surround yourself with positivity and try and uplift yourself, you'll find success in the end.
I'm Ellie Dillingham from Central High School, and my key takeaway is the fact that you taught us that you failed and it's okay to fail, and learning from your failures is very important, especially as an athlete.
Hi, I'm Nick Chisholm. I'm from Hollidaysburg, and a key takeaway today is that failure plays a strong role in success.
I'm Will Tremel from Bishop Carroll. My key takeaway is just keep practicing as hard as you can, and you'll achieve your goals.
I'm Miriam Clark from Blair County Christian, and I learned the importance of not winning the first time isn't necessarily a failure. It's just one more step in the journey that you have to take, even though you didn't succeed the first time. Okay, any adults want to come up? Any takers? Anybody? Okay, Tyler, your turn. You're giving away. So what do you got for us?
Cool. So you guys still hear me okay? Yeah. So I'm going to give away a few books. The nice thing is it's a book for non-readers, right? So if you're like, I'm not really a reader, it's the book for you, okay? It's a very light read. There's a lot of humor throughout. If you're not into basketball, it's a book for you, right? Because it's not just basketball. There's a lot of family stuff, some faith stuff, a lot of crazy stories. But how many schools do we have here? 7? 8? 7? Maybe we'll give away one book per school, if that's okay.
7.
7? Beautiful. So let's go Tyrone. What about Tyrone Peoples? All right, Tyrone. So we'll do pop quiz, right? We'll do pop quiz. Can you name 3 countries that I played in or mentioned? Yeah? Uruguay? China and Italy? Ding, 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 come on down, baby. Tyrone, get in the book whether you want it or not. For the what? For the what? Oh, yes. There you go, brother. I'll sign it for later. Thank you. Good job. Awesome. Thank you.
Oh,
wait.
So now I gotta get a picture.
Picture. Come back up.
Sorry, I was.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. All right, next one. Altoona. Where's Altoona? Woo. All right, Altoona. How far did we get in my college, one of the better years of my college career? Yes?
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16, yes, come on down. How old are you? You're not 16, are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, great. Good deal. All right. Who else we got? BC. BC. Does anybody remember what state or city I grew up in or near? Yeah.
Near Chicago.
Near Chicago, that is correct. Yeah, BC. Oh, good catch. Awesome, brother. Thank you. Thank you. You got it, man. It's all yours. Thank you. Yes. Oh, wait, we gotta do a picture. Make us official, otherwise you don't get to keep it.
There's too much.
Yeah, sure. And let's see, who else we got?
Blair Christian.
Blair Christian. Where's Blair Christian? Yes, my people in the back. Blair Christian. What's a two-word phrase that I said today?
Screw it.
Screw it! Come on! That's the best one, baby. That's the best one. You gotta get up there, though. My man. Thanks, brother. Cool. Hollinsburg, where's Hollinsburg at? Yeah, baby. Hey, Hollinsburg, did anybody go to Foot of 10 Elementary? You were the winner, Foot of 10. Come on up. Didn't even know it. Didn't even know it. Foot of 10. All right, so here's the story behind Foot of 10. What's your name?
Logan.
Logan. Logan, smile pretty. Even there. So my wife, Kara, actually taught at Foot of 10 Elementary from 2002 to 2005. And funny story there was we were dating, we got married, and then I got a job down in Uruguay, and I said, listen, I don't know if this Uruguay thing is gonna work out. Let me go down there for a month. You keep teaching, because if I lose my job, like, we want one of us to have an income. So I went down there for a month, and I was like, it's okay. So she flew down and stopped teaching. I forced her into early retirement.
Central.
Central, okay. Claysburg. Where's Claysburg at? Here, Claysburg. All right, Claysburg. Who is a famous tall guy that I played against? 7'5". Yao Ming. Who said Yao Ming? You. Come on now. My man. Thanks, bro.
Oh, he's close.
Man, you're taller than I am. They're like, guy's not 6'8". My buddy was in the picture with him. He's like, he's got him by 4 inches. And Central? Where's Central? Of course. I knew you guys were there. Central. Let's see. What to ask? Who's got the next birthday coming up? Yeah, when's your birthday? Next week? Boom. There you go. Well, come on, we gotta do a picture. Awesome. Thank you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
We should sing.
No.
No, we won't sing. We'll see. Thank you guys so much. Awesome to meet you guys and see you. Does anybody have any questions? Or does anybody really care? That's okay. What's that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, if somebody wanted me to sign it so you know that you didn't steal it, I'm happy to do that. But any questions about anything?
Tyler.
Yes. How tall am I? I'm 6'8". 6'8". Or as my dad would say, I'm 5'20". I'm like, Dad, that's like the corniest thing ever. He would say that to little kids, they'd be like, 5'20". No, really, how tall are you?
Hey, do you have a book for an adult? Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
do you think this out?
Sure. So for the adults, I know if you guys would like a book, we'll do one for you. How about that? Let's see. Has anyone here, any of the adults here, ever traveled to Uruguay? Okay. Has anyone here who's an adult traveled to Amsterdam? Would you like a book? She's like, no, but I went to Amsterdam. Here, I'm sorry, thank you. Great, thank you so much.
Did you play in Amsterdam?
So
Tyler?
I played in a city near Amsterdam. I played in Holland twice. And Amsterdam's kind of a cool town. They've got like a lot of little canals and stuff. It's like a little mini Venice almost. Yeah, well, what else? Any other questions? I didn't see the hand. I only saw his hand. I'm 6'8", 5'20". Any other questions? It can be dumb questions. I like dumb questions, actually. I prefer those. Yeah?
Did you run in a marathon? You said you were training for one?
I did. So my goal was to run the whole way and not walk and to make it under 4 hours. So I ran the whole way, but I did not make it under 4 hours. I ran the Pittsburgh Marathon, and it's not the smartest one to do for your first marathon because it's really hilly, you know, very discouraging, but it's all right. It was good. It was a great challenge. Yeah.
What was like the weirdest dish that you tried that you actually really liked, like from a different country?
All that I really liked. There's a lot of strange ones overseas, man. I mean, as far for the young folks, has anybody been outside the country? Yeah? Cool. What countries? You were born in another country. Sweet. What country were you born in? Guatemala. Awesome. How about you?
I went to France. I went to Europe, France,
Yeah. France, England, Dublin. Very cool. Yeah. So for me, when I was in Uruguay, we had a sponsor who was our restaurant. So I got to go to a restaurant every day. They would just feed me. It was awesome. And I got to know the owner really well. And one day, this guy comes up on his scooter, and he's carrying this big bag. He's got something like huge and kind of orange and like wet. I'm like, what is this? And the guy just kind of walks in through the front door, and he's like, hey, and he like goes up and puts it right on the bar counter. I'm like, what is that? And he's like, oh, that's lengua. Lengua? Lengua, tongue. It's like, oh my gosh. It was all these cow tongues that was like the specialty in his restaurant. And he was so proud of it. And he's like, so every time I came in after that, it's like, Tyler, lengua. No, no, Javier, thank you, thank you. Yeah. Oh, there's another question over here I missed, sorry. I thought somebody had their hand raised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Favorite color? You know what? I usually say blue. I don't know. I've always kind of been a blue guy. Even before I got to Penn State, I just blue. What's yours? Orange? Awesome. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyrone. Yeah. Blue and orange. Bucknell. Could be Bucknell. Anything else? What's that? Oh. All right, cool.
Okay. Well, I think that's it. Please, another round of applause for Tyler Smith. So our season 6 begins in the fall, so do be checking our Facebook page. We're lining up speakers as we speak, so you'll be excited to know who's coming up in the fall. And again, thank you so much for being part of our season 5. We will probably do some takeaways on video. We got some of those. We're going to be redoing a video for the next season, so look out for some new faces. And for those of you who have been here numerous times, you're graduating. Congratulations early, and best of luck, and win anyway. How about it, Tyler? Thank you so much.